Welcome back to my CCNA lab series. In this fourth video, we will dive into VLAN trunking using packet tracer. You will learn the need to create trunk ports and understand its benefits. During hands-on lab, you will create multiple VLANs and travel them across trunk ports. Make sure to follow along and don't forget to subscribe for more hands-on labs. Let's get started. Welcome to the lab for VLAN trunking. So before going into the task, let me first introduce the lab setup. So we have here with us two switches, switch 1 and switch 2. And we have two PCs connected to each switch. PC1 and PC3 are connected to switch 1 and PC2 and PC4 to switch 2. And we have two VLANs basically here. PC1 and PC2 are in VLAN 10, that is HR VLAN. And I have already given IP addresses to these PC 192.168.10.1 and 192.168.10.2. And PC3 and PC4 are in a second VLAN, that is VLAN 20 of sales, and their IP addresses are 192.168.20.3 and 192.168.20.4. So let me now go through the task briefly. Task 1 would be I will introduce the need for using the VLAN trunking. In the task 2, I will configure the VLANs and assign the ports to the corresponding VLAN on switch 1, and I will do then the same on switch 2 in the task 3. In the task 4, I will then do the connectivity test by pinging PC2 from PC1 and PC4 from PC3. And in task 5, I will configure trunk ports. I will configure this gigabit 01 and gigabit 01 on both the switches and trunk ports. And in the task 6, I will again test the connectivity between these PC1 and PC2 and PC3 and PC4. So what is the need for VLAN trunking? So in our previous lab, we have a single switch and we assigned multiple devices to two VLANs, and it was good enough. They were able to ping each other, the devices in the same VLAN, while the devices in the different VLAN, they were not able to ping each other as per our requirement, as per the security and segmentation requirement. Well, but in practical scenario, we often have multiple switches. For example, this switch one may be in one building or in one office where we have multiple clients, and then we may have another switch in another building or in adjacent office where there are other multiple clients, and these switches may be connected with each other. So in a single switch setup, these ports are in access, and in access mode, each port can be assigned only one VLAN. But in this case, as we see in the picture, I have VLAN 10 over here and VLAN 20 over here. So this VLAN 10 will need to talk to this VLAN 10 client. That is, PC1 will need to talk to PC2 over VLAN 10, and PC3 will need to talk to PC4 over VLAN 20. What does this mean? This means that now this cable will need to carry multiple VLAN. In this case, two VLAN, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. While in access mode, each port or the cable can carry only one VLAN. So we need to do something extra, and that extra is configuring these ports in trunk mode. So in trunk mode, the port can carry multiple VLANs, while in access mode, it can carry only one VLAN. So that's why we need to configure trunk where we need to transport multiple VLANs. So now let's get to the practical work. In task 2, I will now configure VLANs 10 and 20 on switch 1 and assign these port fast Ethernet 01 and 02 to that specific VLAN. So let's get started. So I will go to the privilege executive mode, then global configuration mode. And now I will configure two VLAN 10, and I will name it as HR. Then I will configure the second VLAN, which is VLAN 20, and I will name it sales. So I am done with configuring VLAN. Now I will assign the ports to these VLAN. The fast Ethernet 01 will be assigned to VLAN 20. So you will go into the interface fast Ethernet 01, and as we did in the previous lab, switch port mode access. So since this cable is directly connected to client and need a single VLAN, so we will configure it in access, switch port access and VLAN 20. Now we'll go into the second interface, which is fast Ethernet 02. And again, I will repeat the same commands. First, I will configure this interface into access mode, and then I will assign it to the VLAN 10, which is our HR VLAN. So configuration on this switch is now done. I will save the configuration. So I can save the configuration using two commands, either copy running configuration to startup configuration, or the second command is write memory. You can use any one you like. So now let's go to the second switch 2. Let me first change the host name of the switch. So this is switch 2. And now I will configure the two VLAN over here. VLAN 10 named as HR, and the second VLAN is VLAN 20, and I will name it as sales. And now I will assign interfaces, that is fast Ethernet 01 and fast Ethernet 02. First, the fast Ethernet 01, I will configure it in access mode. And now I will assign it to VLAN 01 to VLAN, and I will do the same for the fast Ethernet 02, and I will configure it in access mode, and I will assign it VLAN 20. And now I will save the configuration. Good enough. So now we are done with the task 3. I have configured VLANs on both the switches and assigned the corresponding interfaces to those VLANs. So now the task number 4 is to test the connectivity. I will ping PC2 from PC1. So let's go to the PC2, sorry, PC1, and I will ping. Let me bring it up. I will ping PC2, and the PC2 IP is 192.168. 168.10.2, and it is not pinging. It is because we haven't configured these ports, the gigabit Ethernet 01 of the two switches, into trunk mode. These ports are simply into access mode, and that's why the VLAN are not traveling. So I will do the same test for PC3 and PC4. I will ping PC4 from PC3, and PC4 IP is 20.4, and it is also not pinging as we are seeing. So we have done with the connectivity test, that is task number 4. So now let's go to task number 5, which is configure trunk port on switch 1 and switch 2. And the trunk ports we need to configure are the gigabit Ethernet 01 and gigabit Ethernet 01 on both the switches. So first let's go to the switch 1. I will go to the global configuration mode and go inside the gigabit Ethernet 01, and now I will configure this interface into trunk mode. So I will configure it into trunk mode, and now it is good enough. I can now go to the other switch and simply configure the other interface into trunk, but I will do something extra. When you configure interface simple into trunk mode, then it can carry all the VLANs. Any VLAN tag will be carried by this one, but more secure and more controlled way is to only allow the VLANs that you need to carry on this interface. In our case, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. So what I will do now, switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10 and switch port trunk allowed VLAN, and now I will use this command to add the extra VLAN 20. So now if I show you the running configuration, and here we can see that interface gigabit Ethernet 01 is in trunk mode, and two VLANs, VLAN 20 and VLAN 10, are allowed on this particular interface. So this is safe and secure manner. Instead of allowing all the VLANs, you should only allow the VLANs that you need to allow on this specific interface or that are required to travel on that specific cable. So now I will go to the switch 2. I will do the same configuration over here. And here again, I will go to the interface gigabit 0/1, and I will configure it into trunk mode and code trunk allowed VLAN pan and add 20. So this interface is again also configured into trunk mode, and two VLANs 10 and 20 has been allowed on this interface. So let me save the configuration. Let me save the configuration on this as well. One thing that I forgot to do is change the name of this switch to switch 1. and save the configuration. So we are good to go. So we are done with the task 5. Now ideally these two PCs will be able to communicate with each other because they are in the same VLAN. And similarly, these two PCs in VLAN 20 or sales will be able to communicate with each other. So let's test the connectivity again. I will again go to PC1 and ping PC2 from it. So I will again ping PC2 IP is 192.168.10.2, and sure enough we are now able to ping PC2 because now VLAN has been made to travel through these interfaces and through this cable. I will now perform the second test by pinging the PC4 from PC3, and PC4 IP is 20.4, and sure enough it is also pingable. So our configuration and our tests are successful. So I hope this lab has been informative. If there is any question or any conception issue, or if you need to know something extra, you can ask me in the comments. In the next lab, we will be performing the router on a stick. That now let's suppose we want to make the communication between these two VLANs. Let's suppose I want to be able to ping PC2 from PC3. So how should we do that? And we will do that in the next lab. So please subscribe, like, and share the video, and stay tuned for the next lab video. Thank you and bye.